So hey gang, this is Rev It Up Mustang Fanatic Productions. If I can still use that title. As you know, we have to sell our Mustangs for medical reasons. But we're here in the 2020 Chevy Trax all-wheel drive LT. It's probably been about a month, maybe, or a little more, that I've had the 2020 Chevy Trax. And I gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying this little car. It's very good on fuel. It's got a lot of room in it. The only thing that I don't like is it doesn't have a CD player. And I haven't downloaded Pandora or any of those Google Music pods or anything that you can do, but I can do that at any time. But the reason for this video today is I want to let people know about a recall that Hyundai has. And this recall is for specific models. I may not have them all, but I know they're from 2011 to 2016. The Hyundai Tucson, the Hyundai Elantra, the Hyundai Sonata, Kia Sonata, the Kia Santa Fe. I know those specific Hyundais and Kias between 2011 and 2016 have a recall. And what happens is your check engine light will come on, and if you haven't had the upgrade, will they connect to your ECM or ECU and upgrade the knock sensor in these specific vehicles. The next light is going to come on, if you don't get that engine stopped, is the oil light, and your engine will seize and it will never stop. It will never start, excuse me. That's what happened to our first Hyundai Tucson we had. It was 2012. It was the black one. And we hadn't had that letter. But I found out something about a recall. And my wife was on I-26 when it happened. She didn't even have time to pull over. And the oil light came on and the engine shut off and it never started. But we got that fixed under warranty. It took a little while because they had to get the motor from Korea, and it was a brand new motor. But unfortunately, after we got that, my wife got in an accident with that car and it was totaled. And I found this, I did the 2012 review of my Hyundai Tucson all-wheel drive. We found that it only had 59,000 miles. It was one owner. I scanned it. Everything worked well for it's been about 14 months that we had that Tucson now, and we haven't had many problems out of it. It drives beautiful. That's why we loved it. But last Friday, a week ago Friday I should say, not yesterday, my wife was coming home from work and she called me and she said, honey, my check engine light is on and it keeps blinking and I can't go no faster than 30, 45 miles an hour, and the engine is, and it's bucking. And so I told her, I said, well, pull over in a safe place and I'll be there with my scan tube. So she pulled over. I met her up on the beach and I scanned it with my scan tube, and the code came up P1326, which was a stupid code. It said glow plug sensor stuck open, and I'm like, glow plug sensor stuck open? Those are for diesels. I have a gasoline powered engine. So I did more digging into a P1336 specifically for Hyundai and Kias, and what that is, it has something to do with the knock sensor picking up an imbalance in the engine, like a spark issue or timing issue. And so what it does, it shuts the engine into limp mode so you don't further damage the engine. So once I found that out, I called Hyundai of Myrtle Beach, and I told them what was happening, and that I was towing the vehicle down to them because you can crank it up, you can't rev it up, and run. You definitely can't drive it because it's under 35, 40, and it bucks. And I knew something was major going on with the engine. So I know the tests that they have to do. The first thing they're going to do, though, they're going to ask you, or they're going to look up the history of that vehicle to see if you had the knock sensor upgrade. And if you had the knock sensor upgrade, so then the next thing they're going to do is they're going to do a connecting rod test to see if you have enough clearance in the connecting rods. And what they do is a dial indicator with a long tube. They have to take off the coils, and when they take out the coils, they take out I believe they take out the spark plugs. Yeah, they have to take out the spark plugs, and they stick this dial indicator down through the spark plug hole on top of the crankshaft, pistons, and they put air to it, and when they do that, it measures how much clearance you have between the rod bearing, and they go through each of the spark plug holes for each of the cylinders, 1 through 4, or if you got a 6-cylinder, they'll do that. And what the problem is the rod bearings, when they made them from the factory, had a rod bearing clearance issue, and it rubbed off some of the metal, and the metal and trash stayed inside the crankcase, and cycling through your oil and going through and getting into the piston rods, or the connecting rods connected to the crankshaft. And what that does, it damages your connecting rods. So one of two things is going to happen. They're going to owe us a brand new motor, or they may say it was the crankshaft, no, it was the knock sensor that was too sensitive. But in my experience, I don't believe it's going to be the knock sensor that was too sensitive when they upgraded it. It could be, but I'm thinking it's going to be more of that the rod bearing failure, and that's what's going on with these vehicles. I don't care how many miles you can have on it. You can have 30,000 miles on it, 130,000 miles on it. If that engine fails due to that connecting rod issue, Hyundai owes you a brand new engine, and it shouldn't cost you a dime. Now, you're going to sign some papers saying it's $120 to diagnose it. You're going to have the $80 tow truck fee, but those are all, that's reimbursable, the $80 for the towing fee. But if they find that the connecting rod or the knock sensor is the problem, they will void that $120 diagnostic fee, and they will do the knock sensor for free, or they will put a brand new engine in it for free. In either result, once they get your car into the shop and diagnose it, and it is a connecting rod, a rod bearing failure, then they owe you a rental, a free rental, as long as they have that car in that shop fixing it. Now, you can rent a car and then hope that it might be the rod bearing or the knock sensor, anything under warranty, and they will reimburse you for that downtime, and then they will pick up the bill on the warranty for a rental. But I'm not willing to go that far yet. Next week, my wife's car should be going in the shop, and they're going to determine what the problem is. And then once they find that, And if it's a warranty issue, then we'll go ahead and rent the car. But it's a real inconvenience because, you know, it makes you down a car. And so, you know, that's one of the big drawbacks of it. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know who own those Hyundais and Kias from 2011 to 2016 that these are problems that are wrong with these vehicles. So I would advise you not to even buy one. If you love those vehicles, you got to go pre-2010 and under, or you want to do 2018 and up on those specific vehicles. But I enjoyed the Hyundai. It was a good riding car. It was good on gas. Had the 2.4 liter in it. My wife loved it, and I did. I didn't think lightning would strike twice, but it did. And so, don't worry about having an oil history. Changing your oil every 5,000 miles or 7,500 miles. It doesn't matter, because it is a fault that comes from the factory. Those specific year vehicles were doomed from the start to fail. So don't have to show them any papers or maintenance on the papers that Hyundai changed the oil, you personally changed the oil every 7,500 miles. It doesn't matter. If you change the oil in these vehicles every 5,000 miles, which I do, you still would end up having that knock sensor problem or the rod bearing problem. The bearing seizing and the motor ends up dead, and they're owing you a new motor. So don't let them tell you got to come up with a maintenance history to prove that you've been maintaining the vehicle. It doesn't matter how many owners then the car had. It could be on the 5th owner with 180,000 miles. If that rod bearing goes bad, they owe you a brand new engine in that vehicle. So I hope this was hopeful information out there to you, and I hope I explained it where you can understand it. That test is lengthy and it's very expensive. So, but they have to do that when they get that P1326 code, and your check engine light comes out blinking like that. So that's what I would recommend you do. The steps that I did: pull the vehicle over immediately in a safe place. Call Hyundai, get in touch with your insurance company to have a tow truck driver come out and tow your truck to Hyundai and get your receipt. That way you can get reimbursed through your insurance company. And then Hyundai will take the steps. You got to be patient, because they've got a lot of recalls and they're doing a lot of vehicles, and you know, just like everything else around the world, they're hiring, they're looking for help. And so it'll take a while to get it in the shop, but once they get it in the shop, they'll get the diagnosis, and then they'll begin the process of fixing it. The last time it took about 6 months, because the engine, like I said, came from South Korea, and it was actually Seoul, Korea, which is in South Korea. And so they said it doesn't take as long now. I don't know the specific time on it, but I'll update you guys and let you know what they say, if it was the knock sensor they had to replace, or if we're going to get a brand new engine. And when you get the brand new engine, it comes with the automatic fix, and you will not have that problem anymore. All right, guys, God bless. Have a good one. Rev it up, Mustang Fanatic Productions.